Getting a second passport doesn't have to take decades or cost a fortune. In fact, some countries make the process surprisingly easy, whether it's through residency, ancestry, or fast-track programs. In this list, we're breaking down 7 countries where getting citizenship is actually doable, even in 2025. No legal maze, no endless waiting. Number 7, Ecuador. Ecuador doesn't make you jump through flaming hoops to become a citizen. In fact, it's one of the easier places in the world to get a second passport without selling your soul or mastering a new language. The country welcomes foreigners with open arms, especially if you're willing to stick around for a few years. After just 3 years of legal residency, you're already eligible to apply for citizenship, which is faster than most countries where you need to practically grow old waiting. And no, you don't need to marry a local or have ancient ancestry. If you know basic Spanish, can pass a straightforward civics test, and haven't caused any chaos during your stay, you're already on the good side of Ecuadorian authorities. There's no absurd financial investment required, and the cost of living is low enough that your wallet won't beg for mercy during those residency years. Whether you retire in the Andes or chill on the coast, the country makes it easy to settle, stay, and eventually belong. Plus, Ecuador doesn't force you to give up your original passport. Dual citizenship is perfectly fine here, which makes the whole deal even sweeter. In short, Ecuador keeps the red tape to a minimum and the requirements refreshingly reasonable, so you can actually enjoy your new life while waiting to call yourself a citizen. Number 6, Luxembourg. Luxembourg may sound like the kind of place where you need a royal title or a vault of gold bars to fit in, but when it comes to citizenship, it's surprisingly down to earth. The country offers one of the most straightforward citizenship paths in Europe, especially if you can trace even a sliver of ancestry back to Luxembourg, which unlocks a fast-track option that has become wildly popular. For everyone else, the standard naturalization route is still refreshingly achievable. After 5 years of legal residence, you're eligible to apply for citizenship, and the requirements aren't designed to make you weep. Yes, you'll need to learn some basic Luxembourgish, but they're not asking you to debate philosophy in it, just a basic language test and a short course in civics. Compared to many European nations that demand decade-long waits and bureaucratic marathons, Luxembourg feels like the express lane. You don't need to invest a fortune or renounce your other citizenship either. The country is perfectly fine with dual nationality. And while living in Luxembourg isn't exactly cheap, the perks are impressive: top-tier public services, an insanely high quality of life, and the ability to live and work across the entire EU. It's like getting the VIP pass to Europe. The government here is known for its efficient administration, which means your application is more likely to move forward than get lost in some Kafkaesque spiral. Overall, Luxembourg keeps things simple, logical, and fair. So if you can handle a bit of language learning and enjoy punctual buses, you might just find yourself holding one of the world's strongest passports in no time. Number 5, Mexico. Mexico makes the path to citizenship refreshingly chill without turning it into a bureaucratic endurance test. You can become a Mexican citizen after just 5 years of legal residency, which already puts it ahead of a lot of countries still stuck in a 10-year wait mindset. And if you happen to marry a Mexican national or have Mexican children, that timeline shrinks to just 2 years, basically the citizenship equivalent of express shipping. The process is relatively simple. Prove your residence, demonstrate a basic understanding of Spanish, pass a short civics test, and show you've been a law-abiding guest. There's no need for huge financial investments, obscure paperwork trails, or a vow to never return to your home country. Mexico allows dual citizenship without batting an eye. The cost of living is affordable, tacos are a lifestyle, and the country's laid-back culture extends to its citizenship policies too. As long as you've got your documents in order and haven't stirred up legal trouble, the authorities don't go out of their way to complicate things. Plus, once you're a citizen, you unlock visa-free travel to over 150 countries, not to mention full access to health care, the right to vote, and the freedom to buy land anywhere without special permits. In Mexico, becoming part of the community feels natural. You're not treated like a lifelong outsider, but like someone who belongs. especially if you show a bit of respect and effort. The country values its diversity and has a long tradition of welcoming expats, retirees, and digital nomads with open arms. So whether you're drawn by the beaches, the history, the culture, or the sheer abundance of fresh guacamole, becoming a Mexican citizen is more attainable and more appealing than most people realize. Number 4, Ireland. Ireland might be famous for its green hills and Guinness, but it's also quietly one of the easiest EU countries to gain citizenship, especially if you've got Irish roots hiding anywhere in your family tree. The country's ancestry-based citizenship law is one of the most generous on the planet. If you've got even one Irish grandparent, you're already eligible to become a citizen without ever setting foot in Ireland. That's right, grandma's accent just became your golden ticket. And if you don't have ancestry but want to go the naturalization route, Ireland still keeps things reasonable. You need 5 years of residence within a 9-year window, and at least one of those years has to be immediately before your application. There's no language test, yes, even though the country has 2 official languages, and no absurd interviews to prove your love for Irish stew. Dual citizenship is allowed, which means you can enjoy your Guinness without surrendering your original passport. The process is pretty straightforward. Stay legally, stay out of trouble, fill out the paperwork, and wait for the Department of Justice to work its magic. And it's not just about bureaucracy. Ireland genuinely embraces newcomers, especially those who become part of the local fabric. From tech workers in Dublin to writers in Galway, the country has a welcoming vibe that makes you feel at home even before you get the passport. Plus, Irish citizenship opens the door to the entire EU, so you get the freedom to live, work, and retire anywhere from Portugal to Poland. Add in friendly people, stunning landscapes, and a low-stress path to citizenship, and you've got one of the best deals Europe has to offer. No leprechauns involved. Number 3, Brazil. Brazil keeps its citizenship process refreshingly relaxed, and that's not just the samba talking. If you're legally living in the country, you can apply for citizenship after just 4 years of residency, which is shorter than the average wait in most countries. And if you marry a Brazilian, adopt a Brazilian child, or have special skills that help the country, hello, doctors and scientists, those 4 years can drop to just 1 or 2. Brazil isn't obsessed with language tests either. Yes, they'll want you to know a bit of Portuguese, but they're not going to make you write poetry in it. A basic conversational level usually does the trick, and even that's evaluated with a gentle hand. The government cares more about whether you've been living peacefully and contributing to society than whether you can recite the Constitution from memory. Dual citizenship is welcome here too, so no need to say goodbye to your original passport. The entire vibe of the process is laid back but clear. Live legally, behave well, learn the basics, and you're in. Brazil also doesn't have a rigid income or investment requirement to gain citizenship. It's about presence, not how fat your wallet is. And once you're a citizen, you gain full access to a continent-sized country rich in culture, biodiversity, and ridiculously good food, not to mention a passport that gives you visa-free access to over 170 countries. The paperwork might not move at lightning speed, but the requirements are fair, and the country's warm. Accepting culture makes the wait feel less painful. Whether you're drawn to Rio's coastline or Sao Paulo's chaos, the journey to becoming Brazilian is one of the most accessible in the world, and far more fun than it has any right to be. Number 2, Turkey. Turkey offers one of the more flexible citizenship routes, where you don't need to master Turkish history or recite epic poems about Atatürk to qualify. The country gives you options, residency-based, ancestry-based, and investment-based, all of which are surprisingly accessible. The standard naturalization process requires just 5 years of uninterrupted legal residence. That means living in Turkey with a valid permit and not spending too much time outside the country. If you marry a Turkish citizen, that timeline shortens to 3 years, provided the marriage is genuine and not just for the passport. There's no wild language test, just a basic check that you can get by in Turkish, which most people pick up naturally while living there. The government doesn't ask for massive amounts of money in your bank account, and they're okay with dual citizenship too, so you can keep your original nationality without fuss. For those with money to spare, Turkey's Citizenship by Investment program is among the cheapest in the world. You can buy property worth $400,000 and get your passport in just a few months. But even without that, the regular path is open, clear, and fair. Once you become a Turkish citizen, you gain visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to around 110 countries, plus the right to work and vote. And let's not forget, Turkey sits at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, with a rich cultural mix, excellent food, and a lower cost of living than much of the West. Whether you're sipping tea in Istanbul or soaking in hot springs in Pamukkale, the road to becoming a citizen here is more welcoming than you'd expect. Less red tape, more meze. The process is built to include, not exclude, and that's what makes it stand out. Number 1. Argentina. Argentina doesn't make you run a legal marathon to get citizenship. It practically hands you the running shoes and cheers you on. Out of all the countries with laid-back naturalization laws, Argentina might just take the alphager. You only need 2 years of continuous legal residence to be eligible for citizenship, and that's one of the shortest wait times on the planet. There's no requirement to speak flawless Spanish, though brushing up on your Vos and Chi will definitely help. The country doesn't ask for huge investments, fancy degrees, or distant ancestry, just that you live there legally, behave yourself, and have some basic integration into society. Courts, not immigration offices, handle citizenship cases, which sounds intimidating but often works in your favor. Judges have been known to be surprisingly reasonable and sympathetic. There's no need to renounce your original nationality either, since Argentina is all in on dual citizenship. It also doesn't hurt that Argentina's cost of living is low, its steak is legendary, and its healthcare and education are publicly accessible even to non-citizens. But as a citizen, you unlock full rights, the ability to vote, and a passport that grants visa-free travel to over 170 countries. The process is transparent, the expectations are fair, and there's no maze of bureaucratic nonsense designed to trip you up. Argentina doesn't just tolerate newcomers, it welcomes them with open arms, a cup of mate, and a system that makes sense. For those looking for an easy, quick, and genuinely welcoming path to a second passport, Argentina sits at the top of the list, confident, calm, and clearly not in the mood to make life harder than it needs to be. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.